You're welcome to the news. My name is Remy Allen. The All Progressives Congress APC and the People's Democratic Party in Ondo State have accused each other of an alleged plan to instigate crisis in Akure, the state capital. The APC had alleged that it had uncovered the plans by the PDP to instigate the crisis, but the opposition party said it is known for its peaceful and developmental strides in the state. Ondo APC, in a statement by his publicity secretary, Alex Kalejaye, explained that the essence of the arrangement is to create a semblance of political instability in the peaceful state, in addition to portraying the ruling party in bad light ahead of governorship election coming up next year. The statement alleged that some PDP chieftains have started making huge contributions in collaboration with some players within the APC fold to destabilize the Sunshine State. The party explained that Ondo State has thus far been peaceful, organized, and enjoyed enviable political stability and industrial harmony. The statement condemned in strong terms such thoughts and plans to instigate political upheaval and create disaffection among the people, arguing that the state governor, Oluwarotimi Akeredolu, has been discharging his official duties and responsibilities without any hitch, irrespective of his location. Meanwhile, security operatives in Ondo State have sealed up People's Democratic Party Secretariat in Akure, the Ondo State capital. Osrc's visit to the Secretariat showed presence of combined team of Nigeria Police, Department of State Security, and Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps in their numbers. Some members of the party were sighted inside the Secretariat, while some were prevented from gaining access to the office. Youth
Since last week, we have been making some move to have a peaceful protest this morning. Unfortunately, when we get there this morning, we met people, police officers and others. They have still off our office.
And the situation of things that you are saying is that we wrote the security agencies, but we got there this morning and we saw that they actually stampeded our secretariat. We are citizens of Nigeria, Ondo State in particular, and we have the right. We are opposition party. We have the right to gather.
As at the time of filing this report, all efforts to speak with Ondo State Police Public Relations Officer proved abortive. Meanwhile, no form of harassment or violence witnessed at the venue. Still on political issue, the Bayelsa Resident Electoral Commissioner Rec Obo Efanga maintains that polling units results will be uploaded on the INEC Result Viewing Portal IREV for the Bayelsa, Kogi, and Imo governorship polls, while the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission INEC, Mahmoud Yakubu, had reportedly said results won't be uploaded on the IREV. Efanga maintained that the electoral body will be deploying it for the off-season elections billed for November 11th, 2023. He said the IREV has come to stay just like the Beavers has come to stay. According to him, the portal is ready and was used in the recent mock accreditation held ahead of the elections. Efanga expressed confidence that with the deployment of technology, the polls will be hitch-free. President Bola Tinubu will today swear in 3 additional ministers into his 48-person cabinet. The 3 new ministers will be sworn into office at the Council Chamber of the State House before the commencement of the Federal Executive Council meeting. Monday's FEC meeting is the second since Tinubu's inauguration as president on May 29, as the council has not convened since its inaugural meeting on August 28. The 3 additional ministers to be sworn in are Jamila Bio, Ayodele Olawande, and Balarabe Lawa from Kaduna State. Bio and Olawande are expected to be sworn in as the Minister of Youth and the Minister of State for Youth. Following a letter by Tinubu, the Senate had on October 4th screened and confirmed the 3 additional ministers. Today is World Food Day. World Food Day 2023 is being celebrated with its focus on the theme, Water is Life, Water is Food, Leave No One Behind. The theme aims to highlight the critical role of water for life on Earth and water as the foundation of our food. It also seeks to raise global awareness about the importance of managing water wisely as rapid population growth, economic development, urbanization, and climate change threaten waterproof availability. The grand finale of the 2023 Ulefuta Festival of Akure Kingdom was a spectacle to behold as sons and daughters gathered to showcase their commitment for development. Non-indigenous were also not left out of the celebration, which attracted dignitaries from across Nigeria. Osrc's Zaid Aribisala reports that the Deji Oba Alade Toyinbo Alade Lucy enjoined indigenous to continually support development projects geared towards making Akure a place of pride. His report.
After a series of activities, the grand finale of the 2023 annual Ulefuta Festival of Akure Kingdom is here with so much excitement in the air. Indigenes of the state capital set aside other engagements to gather at the MKO Abiola Democracy Park in Akure, clad in colorful traditional and African prints and accessories. Drums of different kinds and sizes and other musical instruments accompanied outpour of joyous emotions from the cross-section of attendees.
The major highlight of the annual Ulefuta Festival of Akure Kingdom is a parade from various communities and groups, and this is usually done in a very colorful manner.
Representatives of different communities within Akure moved round the venue, paying homage to the Akure monarch, Oba Alade Toyinbo Alade Lucy.
Five years ago, when we did this, we just did it at the Deji's Palace. There was no glamour like this. But when you have an educated and well-traveled Oba, you will bring innovations, and you can see the innovation.
Akure people to pray for Akure, to rejoice, to fraternize, to be thankful for God for the peace that has been with Akure for a while. We also celebrate our paramount leader, our paramount Deji of Akure Kingdom, that his reign will be blissful, will bring blessings, good tidings to Akure.
This is a festival that has become the symbol of Akure. It's just synonymous to Ojude Oba, and we are looking at a situation in the near future that all citizens of Akure all over the world will be coming to attend this festival.
Non-indigenes of the town across various tribes were not left behind in the display of love for Akure Kingdom, just as professional and socio-cultural groups put up their best display. The occasion, according to tradition, is also an avenue for youths to connect more with their roots and relieve the efforts of elders who have contributed to the kingdom.
Ulefuta Festival motivates us because it's a time for you to see people that have served this community in the past and current. You have people that when you see them, it will motivate you. So it's a thing of joy for the youth to motivate them in their own various endeavors.
Certificate presentation to newly installed traditional title holders, including former Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tuko Buratai, who described the gesture as a symbol of Nigeria's unity, also took center stage.
I can see joy. People are happy, they are celebrating, and I'm here to celebrate with them.
Away from the merits to developmental issues, the chairman of Ulefuta Festival and some other individuals stoked the conversation on the need to support the construction of Akure Teaching Hospital, with the foundation laying scheduled for December 23, 2023. The DG of Akure, Obalade Toyin Boalade Lucy, enjoined indigenes and non-indigenes to work for the prosperity of the town.
This year is spectacular. No doubt about it. Next year will be better than this.
The week-long Ulefunta Festival 2023 featured, among other things, presentation of bursary and scholarships to students and health outreach for members of the community. Sahida Aribisala, Osrc News.
The U.S. is warning Gaza's hospital will run out of fuel in the next 24 hours and is describing the humanitarian situation as catastrophic. At least 4 people, including 3 children, were killed as a result of an Israeli air raid in one of the UN refugee camps in central Gaza. A series of Israeli bombardments hit several targets across Gaza today. Kemisola Ojomo reports.
The aftermath of another Israeli strike on Gaza, the bombardment hitting homes and buildings where people are taking refuge. Residents struggle to pull the injured and the dead from the destruction. Palestinian Authority says more than 1,000 people across the strip are missing under the rubble. Tens of thousands are taking shelter at schools run by the UN Refugee Agency.
We escaped. We are scared. Shelling is everywhere. The world must understand our situation. We have children and we have sick people. Also, they're displaced people who are suffering from cancer. We are terrorized.
They have destroyed my house. I have no other place to live. I don't know where to go. Our life is hell. They told us to go to the south, and here we are in the south. I'm sick and tired of everything. I don't need food. I just need to go back to my house. Take me to my place and I will live in a tent there.
Hospitals and clinics are at breaking point. Gaza's largest hospital, Al-Shifa, is overcrowded with people who have fled their homes or what is left of them.
The burden on the health sector is so huge, and large numbers of people are taking shelter here and in schools in total disorder, with no hygiene. It will cause epidemics across Gaza and beyond. Their health situation is extremely dangerous.
Compounding the problem is Israel's blockade. It has cut essential supplies of food and fuel, and water has run out in UN shelters.
Even if the water is restored, the water is going to go to big containers in Gaza, which means that the water will need to be trucked to different locations. And to truck the water to different locations, we need fuel for the trucks. So it's really a chain of events that need to happen before people can actually get water.
And with no electricity, night brings almost complete darkness to Gaza and a fear of what might come next. Kemisola Ojomo, Osrc News.
In the meantime, United States President Joe Biden has warned Israel that any occupation of Gaza would be a big mistake. Speaking in an interview on U.S. television, Biden said he supported the creation of a humanitarian corridor for people in Gaza to live and aid to be delivered. Biden also said in the interview that Hamas, which launched a surprise attack in Israel on October 7, needed to be eliminated. Iran's Foreign Minister Hossein Amir-Abdourani has, however, said Tehran will not be a bystander in the conflict, cautioning both Israel and the United States about potential substantial losses if the war between Israel and Hamas intensifies. Joseph Ikugbomire reports.
His response to the Hamas attack 10 days ago was immediate condemnation, but absent was the call for Israeli restraint that in the past would be part of U.S. reaction. Over the past 24 hours, as U.S. Secretary of State shuttled through the region, there has been an apparent shift in the U.S. position. President Biden now advising Israel against any preoccupation of Gaza.
What happened in Gaza, in my view, is Hamas and the extreme elements of Hamas don't represent all the Palestinian people. And I think that it would be a mistake for Israel to occupy Gaza again. But to going in and taking out the extremists, the Hezbollah is up north, but Hamas down south is a necessary requirement.
Do you believe that Hamas must be eliminated entirely?
Yes, I do. But there needs to be a Palestinian Authority. There needs to be a path to a Palestinian state.
We work together to make sure that, to the best of our ability, this conflict does not spread.
A possible reason for the U.S. shift may be a consequence of Anthony Blinken's discussion in his meeting with Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi's air of anger at Israeli action was made public.
This is a huge crisis, and I'm concerned that the Israeli reaction exceeded the right to self-defense and turned into a collective punishment of the Gaza Strip, which has 2.3 million Palestinians.
In Doha, Iranian Foreign Minister met the Emir of Qatar, Amin bin Ahmad Atani, who maintains relations with all parties to the conflict. In an interview, Iran's top diplomat said his country will not remain a bystander of Israel's continuous attack in Gaza.
If the measures aiming at immediately stopping the Israeli occupations attack that are killing children in the Palestinian territories, namely in the Gaza Strip and in the deadlock, it is highly probable that many other fronts will be opened. This option is not ruled out, and this is becoming increasingly more probable.
The Biden administration appears increasingly concerned about a wider war, a commitment to a two-state solution, along with increasing exits in humanitarian relief, may be part of strategy to reassure Arab allies that the U.S. can be a fair booker in the conflict. Joseph Ikugbomire, Osrc News.
Still on Israeli-Hamas war, an Israeli ground offensive in Gaza is believed to be imminent after Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu told his country that the armed forces are now ready to demolish Hamas. A huge Israeli army is massed on the border with Gaza, including many tanks and armored vehicles. It follows the attack in southern Israel by Hamas government that has left more than 1,400 Israelis dead. Israel has been continuing its area bombardment of Gaza, where more than 2,600 Palestinians are said to have been killed already. Thousands of people are continuing to flee south in Gaza after Israel ordered their evacuation. The United Nations has said that Gaza is on the edge of the abyss. Odrayo Sawyer reports.
Along the border, it looked like the eve of battle. In the next few days, Israel will send its armed forces into the Gaza Strip. Israel declared its war aims even before the tanks arrived. First, demolishing Hamas so it can never be a threat again, and avenging more than 1,300 people, mostly its own civilians, massacred by Hamas. In the last few days, the border has become an armed camp. Israel says its offensive is anchored on justice, security, and morality. It has mobilized 360,000 reservists. Border communities like Kibbutz Safar, that were barely defended when Hamas stormed in, are now staging areas for the offensive. One certainty is that when Israel soldiers move forward, many more Palestinian civilians will die. Gaza was pounded again, the 8th day in a row. Mohammed Abu Dakar's sons, daughter, and cousins have been killed. 8 of them with 3 bodies still trapped in the rubble. They were children, he said. They didn't carry guns. Many Palestinians see the body bags and believe Israel's campaign against Hamas is also aimed at forcing them out of Gaza for good. The price of losing, said Gideon Sa'ar, a hardline Israeli politician, is for Gaza to get smaller. That is the language Palestinians understand. The Hamas massacres and the response from Israel, they have unleashed, destroyed what seemed to be the status quo. Fear is already a winner. The soldiers look like they are ready for whatever comes next in Tel Aviv. The war cabinet has been meeting at the Ministry of Defense, finalizing details, making decisions. There are big questions though: how long the operation would take and what happens afterwards. Israeli troops have been patrolling the Gaza boundary. Very soon they will cross it as this long conflict hurtles into its next destructive chapter. Oduayo Sawyer, OS House News.
Also, Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has denied reports of a ceasefire to allow foreigners out of South Gaza and humanitarian aid in. U.S. media had reported that Egypt would reopen the Rafah crossing for several hours, but it is currently closed. Thousands of people are gathering there in the hope of leaving Gaza ahead of an expected Israeli ground offensive. More than 1,400 people in Israel were killed in a Hamas attack just over a week ago, and nearly 2,700 people in Gaza have been killed in Israel's retaliatory bombardment. Police in the United States have charged a 71-year-old man with murder and hate crime for fatally stabbing a 6-year-old boy and seriously wounding his 32-year-old mother, alleging he singled out the victims because of their faith and has a response to the war between Israel and Hamas. Detectives were able to determine that both victims in this brutal attack were targeted by the suspect due to them being Muslim and the ongoing Middle Eastern
in the United States has been so
Hamas and the Israelis. The Will County Sheriff's Office in suburban Chicago said in a statement that the Council of American Islamic Relations (CAIR) for the Chicago chapter identified the victims as Wadia Al-Foyame, a Palestinian-American boy who had recently turned 6, and his mother, Hanan Shaheen. A senior official of a Muslim-American advocacy group has strongly denounced the attack, saying there is no place for hatred for anybody. Ahmed Rahab, the executive director of the Chicago chapter of CAIR, said in an interview that there is no place for anti-Semitism as well as Islamophobia in the U.S. According to the autopsy report, Wandia was stabbed 26 times by the 76-year-old perpetrator, who is now facing 2 hate crime charges.
Lopsided and one-sided on this issue, fanning the flames of essentially dehumanization and demonization of Palestinians. And so you have this man who committed this crime. He had never had any issues with these neighbors, these tenants of his, up until he started watching the recent cycle of news. And he was radicalized. We always ask, who radicalizes? In this case, I'm pointing the blame, in part at least, to our officials and our media and the irresponsible coverage of what's happening in Palestine that dehumanizes Palestinians. In social media, there's more of a chance for two sides to the story, two opinions about what is happening to emerge. We're not seeing that in the broadcast or print media, certainly not in the statements of officials. However, even in social media, unfortunately, we are seeing a censoring, an active censoring of positions that support Palestinian, essentially human rights. This isn't even, I mean, I'm not aware of anybody in my circle or in my community who's supporting, terrorist acts against Israelis or attacks against Israelis of any kind, civilians. However, what we are seeing is even standing up for the human rights of Palestinians and speaking out against the aggression, the occupation, the oppression that's happened for decades that's led us into this conflict, the root of this conflict. But even in what's happening right now in terms of the mass murder, essentially war crimes that were happening in Gaza, that alone might be sufficient to get somebody shadow banned on Facebook or have their account, challenged or have a post taken down. So even on social media, we're seeing a challenge to free speech.
Away from Israel-Gaza war to Russia-Ukraine war. 4 Ukrainian children have been freed by Russia and have now been reunited with their families. The children, the youngest only 2 years old, were released after Qatar acted as a mediator. The group passed through Qatar's embassy in Moscow before leaving Russia. And finally on sports, Nigeria's men cricket team, the Yellow Green, completed a clean sweep at the first West African Trophy concluded at the Tafawa Balewa Square in Lagos by winning all their 10 matches at the event. They routed Rwanda to 17 runs victory, their 4th win over the East African side during the 20-match series that kicked off on Wednesday, October 4, 2023. Nigeria had qualified for the finals of the West African Trophy after winning all her round-robin matches, which included playing Ghana, Sierra Leone, and Rwanda. The 10th match was a placement that pitched Nigeria with 18 points against Rwanda, who had the second highest points, 8, from 4 matches. Ghana also had 4 wins but had a lower net run rate. The 3rd place match then pitted Ghana against Sierra Leone, who had only managed 1 win from 9 matches for the 3rd and 4th classification matches. Sierra Leone snatched a 6-wicket win from Ghana in the first match of the closing day of the West African Trophy before Nigeria's clinching of the tournament trophy with a 10th win. And with that, we conclude Word at Noon. Thanks for watching. Good afternoon.